Dive into our next discussion, and it is about relationships. And today we want to talk about before you say yes, that big yes, okay, that so many gentlemen want to hear and so many ladies want to be able to say. And my guest in studio is named Hannington Wali. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you very much.
I understand you're a preacher, you are a coach as well, and you're a pro-life advocate.
Sure.
It's good to have you here on the show today. All right. So, of course, relationships, they matter very much in all of our lives. And when we look at marriage, and we'll say at least God's intent for marriage, it is till death do you part.
Sure.
So there's a very serious, very long-term commitment that is associated with saying that word yes. But a lot of us, of course, are very anxious to be able to get married, have a nice wedding and all of that. And sometimes it almost feels like we forget the core of what the vows are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So as we dive into this discussion, I understand you have an acronym for the letters yes. You say they actually stand for something.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Actually, yes stands for your signature, your eternal signature. This means that when you get into marriage, you are engaging into something that is going to take you through life.
Okay.
The way you say it, till death
Do you part.
But many people, unfortunately, they don't understand that before they step into the waters. Many people, mostly young people, when they hear marriage, what comes to the mind is the big, wonderful, fancy wedding. That's what comes to their mind. And many rush into marriage, not really thinking of after the wedding, what will be. And that's why I've been talking to men and saying that if you look around, people spend 90% of their time, resources, and everything to plan for a wedding. And they invest almost around 5 or 10% in preparation for marriage. Nobody prepares a committee of experts to be talking to them about marriage. But they must prepare a very wonderful committee of experts to talk to them about the wedding.
The wedding day.
And they meet every day, even twice a day.
You talk about pilau.
Yes,
Kiasi
and the
gani?
rings and the gown and the whatever. But little will you find them sitting down with experts of marriage issues to talk about the marriage, the institution itself. And that's where the problem begins.
So yes stands for your eternal signature.
Signature, yeah.
And again, eternal signature, I mean, you're obviously talking about the very long-term perspective of which God intended marriage to have.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, when you're saying yes to the person, it's not just yes to the ring and the wedding day. You're saying yes to their temperaments, yes to their weaknesses, yes to their strengths, yes to, everything that is about that person. And I guess maybe sometimes when we're in love and, we're just in the romance phase of things, we kind of forget that there are other things to this person and they're human beings as well. And sometimes they'll let us down.
Yeah, and just to put it right, actually, many people get into marriage, a bigger percentage, not based on love, real love. Either they are blown off by the things they find, the material things and whatever, the outlook, the physique and whatever they find in the partner, but not very much about love. Many people have been saying love is blind, but love is not blind. Love sees. Love can hear, and love can determine. If it is real love, it will really diagnose to see whether where that person is going is safe. Before God sent his son in the world, because of love, he had known there are going to be some good results. And he had done a very good assignment about the world. So, many young people, it is better before you say, yes, I do. Diagnose and see, am I getting into it because of real love, genuine love, or I'm blown by things? I'm very much perturbed by how young people are approaching marriage.
Okay.
When you hear they are going for a date, it's like a very short interview about, are you tall, dark, and with 6 packs. And the guy is like, are you size 8 and you have some good
Curves.
yeah. That is all. When they find that the partner is carrying all that they look at from the outward, they do not know what that person is inwardly. And you know, our outward is just a package.
Yeah.
This is a package, packaging somebody inside.
Yeah.
Before you get to know who is packaged inside that person, tomorrow you will enter into trouble. That's why we see many marriages right now. People get into marriage today, 3 months down the line, you hear they're in courts for divorce.
What do you say to the ones, though, who say that it's possible to grow in love, and that's how you're supposed to grow in love as well? So, you know, I guess maybe some people use that to say, bora tu he has, you know, what I like, at least that I can see. Hiyo ingine tutajipanga as we go along, because they have this idea of being able to grow in love.
It is true. You must grow in love. But the environment that makes love to grow is within,
Very true.
not outward.
Yeah.
Because the heart is the harbor of love. So if you have not interacted with the heart of that person, you have just interacted with the outward part of him, it will be very hard. Because during your courtship and your dating, if you're going to grow in love, it must begin during that time, before you say, yes, I do. Real love, genuine love must begin before you say, yes, I do. Not you step in, then you begin fabbling to find a way of how to begin to grow in love. You must begin before.
Okay.
And that's a mistake many people do
Okay.
when they are getting into marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. One of the things that kind of scares me nowadays when I look at weddings is people don't seem to take those vows very seriously. You know, you find people like they are checking through. Me, I was very serious taking my vows. Just because it's not a joke, you know what I mean? And because I also understand it as a covenant between not just my husband and I, but between God, my husband, and I. But sometimes I feel like, especially when it gets to that part for ladies, you know, the one where you say to submit, unaona, you know, some ladies, they start laughing or they're refusing to say the vow. You know, what should be sort of our attitude, you know, when we are making that sort of, because those are not just words you're reciting. It's a covenant you're making. It's a vow.
I think first of all, to begin with, our relationship with God is one thing. Our relationship with God is one thing. And that's why, you know, God is the initiator of this institution called marriage. And that's why, because many people, our relationship with God is one thing, many times, that's why you see that aspect of not taking it serious when you're taking the vows. Because from the word go, nowadays when young people talk about dating, it means a lot of things. So when somebody tells you I'm dating, don't just take it casually. You need to interrogate more. What do you mean by dating?
Okay.
Because dating to some people is cohabiting. Dating to some people is spending an overnight or a weekend at the friend's place. And they're planning to get married. That's why when they stand before the podium now or the altar to take the vows, how can they take them serious? Yet they knew each other a long time ago. These are husband and wife. You see?
Yeah.
Now before the altar, the lady is like, what are we doing here? We should be in our house, continuing with life. So I think that is what is making many people, actually from the word go,
Okay.
people have not taken marriage very serious.
All right.
From the relationship part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want us to take a break now, but when we come back, we're going to continue with this discussion. And I'm inviting you to send in your feedback and your comments as well. Maria here from Roy Sambu is saying, awesome topic, but when you're single and yearning for a relationship, you may be tempted to settle for anything. And I'd want you to address that comment when we get back from this break. 22999 is the SMS line. We'll see you shortly. Hey guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce, and I'm here with my guest. His name is Hannington Wali, and we're talking about before you say yes, what are some of the things you should understand, what are some of the actions you should take, and maybe even the questions you yourselves should be asking. I invite you to send in your feedback and your comments to 22999. That's the SMS line. Someone here says, love ni sabuni ya roho. Nowadays, youth take it as a stage, not considering its values and its dangers. That's Bildad watching from Kisumu. Someone else just says, the truth hurts. Asante sana for watching the show. Daisy from Kahawa says, good morning, Joyce. I agree. And I feel that reluctance to commit sometimes comes from knowing that it's just not time. And I think that's an important thing too, because, just before I went on break, I read the message there by Maria from Roy Sambu saying, sometimes you're single and you're yearning for a relationship. You may be tempted to settle for anything. That's a very scary thing to do, and I certainly hope that you don't do that.
Yeah, if you settle for anything, also expect anything.
That's true.
In the marriage.
Yeah.
Because settling for anything means it is driven by desperation. And that desperation will make you to pick up on anything that comes your way.
That's true.
It is better to wait a little bit longer than just jump into a boat that you do not know where it is heading to.
Yeah.
Better wait a little bit.
If it's safe,
Yeah.
where
Better
it's
wait.
going.
Be relaxed and wait, because I believe every man has a life partner according to the plan of God, and every woman has a life partner. The condition you are in, every lady is in or every man is in, God has prepared somebody that is compatible for them. So the best thing is to wait.
Yeah.
But if you just jump in because I've waited for too long. And another thing, it is very dangerous coming from a lady, because men know how to lie when they want to get married.
Okay.
Many men.
To lie.
Yes.
What's happening?
Many men, they lie a lot to ladies. Yeah.
Why?
Kwa weka box. I don't know why. I'm still studying to understand and doing my research.
Okay.
But that is a truth. If you ask very many married ladies, they are paining because they came to learn later.
The guy
What this guy told me
is not what he is now.
partly is true and partially is not true.
Wow.
Yeah, because men know what ladies need. Ladies are when they are getting into a relationship, they are not that speedy. Yeah, they take step after another.
Okay.
And they are like, because ladies get in through their emotions, unlike men. When a man sees a beautiful lady, he's ready to go. But the ladies are like, no, I don't know. I want to understand what kind of a man he is, if we will rhyme and be compatible and run well in life. Therefore, the lady will take a step after another. But the guys, they are ready for that. If they see a very beautiful lady, many men, they will do all they can. And they know how many ladies have been lured into very wrong relationships because of money.
Okay.
And even the guy was not using his own money. Yeah.
All right. I want to read some SMSs here as we continue. Someone here is saying, hey, Joyce, I like the discussion. I'm currently going through this. I have a guy whom we've dated for the last 3 years, and right now he's insisting that anataka kusettle, and personally, I'm not ready. And again, I'm not ready to lose him also. What can I do? That's Agatha watching from Narok. And that's really refreshing. That's a young lady who's not in a rush. She's taking her time. So how do you then juggle those two? Because you are saying yes to the guy for now, but not yes to the relationship just yet. But she also doesn't want to a marriage, let me say. But she also doesn't want to lose him. What would be your counsel to her as far as how to handle this situation?
There are a few issues around that.
Okay.
Number one, that relationship has been there for 3 years.
3 years, that's
3 years is enough to know somebody.
Yeah.
Unless you are staying, it's a distance relationship. But if you are just in the same environment, that is enough time.
So maybe the question is why she doesn't want to settle
Yes,
down.
that's the question. And perhaps she's struggling with some things, the red flags in that guy.
Okay.
So she's trying to calculate, will I
Okay.
put up with it
Wow.
or not? And if that's the case, you better run for your life.
Yeah.
Make the right decision.
Okay.
Because the more you stand in the decision valley, the valley of decision, it will take you a long time, or you may end up falling for the guy, and tomorrow you will regret.
It's very good that you've brought that up, because I think one of the other things that we certainly need to consider before you say yes to someone is to really, part of getting to know them is to understand what is their plan and their vision. And I know boy shout asianze at you're giving me too much pressure that I need to. It's not about that. It's not about saying in 10 years I'm going to be the CEO of whatever, but just who are you and who are you aspiring to be? That's very important, because it's only fair for your spouse to be able to say, if that is your vision, I can support you in this way. Because if not, you're going to have friction and tension in your relationship.
Yeah, and it is always good. Nowadays we have a very big problem. The social network or the social fabric of the society has been broken. And people do not have very wonderful, good forums as before to relate and know each other. So people meet as strangers, total strangers. And from there, they want to begin. And already, the moment they meet, the guy knows this lady needs a guy. The lady knows the same. So they just
There's
format.
pressure immediately.
Yeah, they format even their mind that I'm going to get married. This is a guy. This is a lady. And if you are desperate, many people just say, let me settle. I had another lady say that if you're waiting for an angelic man, you will wait until Jesus comes back.
Right.
And that's a very wrong perspective, because however much nobody's perfect, you need to look for the right person who is compatible with you.
Okay.
A person you can make a marriage with, and in the marriage, you'll have something to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just to fall in for anybody, because there's nobody perfect. There's nobody perfect, but they're good people.
What about those ones who, within the church setting, there are some who will say, at least Yesu ni Bwana, ameokoka, so now, because that's there, they can carry on with the relationship. And then sometimes I feel like within the church, people get lost in their relationships because of that, because other things matter as well. Your compatibility, attraction to one another. Would you agree?
In fact, Yesu ni Bwana nowadays, most of the Yesu ni Bwana is found on the lips. Most of it. So don't just be flattered by that.
That's true.
Yeah. Even if somebody comes and says, I'm born again, I love the Lord, tongue talking, put it aside. Now deal with the person as an individual. Because many people cover themselves or mask themselves behind I'm born again, just to lure others into very toxic relationships.
Sure.
And they find themselves in trouble. In church right now, we have a very big problem. Even more than the world. Sorry to say that, but that's the reality. So it is good to make sure you interact with the person, and it is good also to get into forums where you know people, first of all. Because when people meet, I've said that, when people meet and the agenda is we want to get married, I'm looking for a partner, that changes the whole game from that day.
Wow, that's very powerful. And I think we need to repeat it, because there's someone who's watching and, they want to be in a relationship. Maybe they've matured in age, they're feeling some sort of pressure. So it's a noble desire to have, but you're saying you also need to be very careful, especially in that stage, because you're even more vulnerable.
Yes.
And the moment you walk into a relationship that every guy you meet, your first thing is, you know me, I'm going to get married. You know me, I'm looking to get married. It means you're now like a horse with blinders. So your eyes will only be fixed on what you think is good.
Yeah.
You are going to ignore every red flag. You're going to ignore every challenge in the relationship, because you just want that. You just want that wedding to happen.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, right now, what people are referring to as dating, previously, it used to be a period of time where people just socialize and interact, just to know each other. Not necessarily for the purpose of getting married, just to know each other. And through that, after a certain period of time, one can say, I see this guy looks to be good. We've been interacting, he looks to be good. I see this lady looks to be good. But nowadays we don't have that. People call each other, let us have coffee. And when they get to the place they're meeting,
The first
the
question is, are you
topic.
thinking of settling down?
Yes. And then, what do you do?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah, where do you
Okay.
stay? Those are very, very, very shallow questions that will not give you the right person you need for marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've called them shallow questions.
They are very shallow.
Can you give us an example of just one question that is not shallow, that people should be focusing on when they're meeting someone and maybe considering, dating or courting them towards marriage?
First of all, you need to ask questions that will bring out the honest in this person, the faithfulness,
Wow.
the genuineness in that person. And some things you can learn from the way the person behaves, even when you meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people who are not genuine, who are not honest, they are not very faithful. Even as you are just talking, communicating, you can learn a lot.
Okay.
So you need to be very keen on that,
Yeah.
not to look at what is he bringing on the table, or what is she bringing on the table. There are many people with very wonderful tables and very good things on the table, but the marriage
That's right.
can't stand.
I love that though, because, shift it from asking, so what is your career? Are you stable financially? It's an important question, and I'm not diminishing this,
Yes.
ladies. It's a very important question. A man is to provide. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
To at least be the head of his home. But you're going back to something that I always talk about, which is the values and the principles behind the person.
Sure.
So beyond, how much his paycheck is today, because look at what COVID has done. People's incomes have been slashed. They've lost, not because they are lazy or they're not working. It's just a factor of the time. So if you're not paying attention to what is the principle that drives this person, what is their value, you might get lost. You
Yeah.
might get lost. Let me turn to some more feedback as I see that coming in. Someone is saying, good morning, Joyce. This is such a timely topic. Most people allow their hearts to take precedence in love, and they really don't involve God, who is the author of marriage, since they are already cohabiting. Absolutely. And you say, ultimately, these are the people who end up saying, when you are in love, wonders happen. But after you get married, you wonder what happened. Let's take time and involve God in every relationship we undertake. And that's from Moses. Thank you very much. I think that's a great message, because love and marriage is supposed to grow sweeter. When you do it right, when you do it God's way, it grows sweeter with time. It's not supposed to now revert, because God only, what he creates is good.
And as you pray,
Yeah.
listen to God, because there are three voices. We have the voice of God, the voice of the devil, and your voice. So you need to be very keen when you are praying, because many people pray, for example, in the church, they're praying for a partner. And every young person in the church knows that all the young people are praying for partners. Somebody will come to you with a very wonderful dream,
Yeah. Hata mimi-
well planned.
Juzi niliandikiwa SMS ingine ati mtu amepata dream. Please keep your dreams to yourself. Let God speak to the other person. Just keep your dreams to yourself. Tafadhali.
And it is good if a brother or a sister comes and says, God spoke to me. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Tell him, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Go
watch
tell
out.
that God to come and speak
talk
to
to me also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I'll comply. Very simple.
100%. I agree with you. Somebody else says, hey, Joyce, wow, there's a lot of very specific questions here that I don't think I'll have the time to go through. But as far as being able to say yes, I think there are certain red flags that you should obviously be looking out for. So even when you're courting, when you're dating, before you say yes to the wedding day vows, right? If you find that your person is aggressive in nature and almost violent towards you, don't start saying that love will correct, that when we get married, sijui, they are going to change. A lot of us
worsen.
think that we can change our spouses, though.
It will worsen. Anything you see at 40% when you are dating, be sure when you get married, it will shoot to 80 or 90% in marriage.
Marriage amplifies who you are.
Sure. Because now that time, everybody is now free. He knows now I won. The lady is here in my house, if he's a man.
And you know the exit is tough.
Yes, it's not that easy. And already, if you are a lady, for example, the lady is already pregnant, where are you going with the pregnancy? So you just have to stay. So don't lie to yourself that what I'm seeing while we're dating will change. It is not easy to change a grown-up.
Yeah. And
This is
you
not a
don't even
child.
have that power as a
Yeah,
human being.
this is not a kid.
Yeah.
they would have changed before while they were growing up. But now this is a mature person. He makes his own decisions. And if you have stayed in this world for around 30 and above years and you never changed something, it will be very technical to change within a very short time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone else says people should be serious when it comes to saying vows because you're confessing them in front of God. They forget you cannot lie to God, and then they continue to say, but Joyce, I don't get it when people just joke with their lives when it comes to marriage. They should be serious because marriage is not a game to play and win. Asante sana for that as well. Now, I'm getting a lot of these type of questions, so I'm just going to try and ask you to summarize. But let me try and combine a couple of questions here. Someone is saying, it's Jessica and I have a question. How do you know that you are with the right person or in the right relationship? And someone else also asked, how do you know, if a lady is your rib, if they're the right one for you? Yes. Okay. So there's a couple questions around that. How do you determine if this is your rib, if this is the right one, if you're dating the right person, or if you're in the right relationship before you can then say yes?
Actually, when people meet, this thing is divine. It's more spiritual than physical in nature, because marriage begins with God. When two people meet, they will begin to see the compatibility between the two with the time. But there are people, they meet all the time, they see they are struggling, even between themselves.
Yeah.
You know, talk a date and you are like, this lady or this guy, and then you brush it off.
Yeah.
You go for another date. You learn another new thing. You come back, you brush it off.
Yeah.
With the time, you're getting married. And when I'm very getting so concerned that many people, when they get out of that date, they go to talk to their friends. And their friends are like, oh, how do you see him? And they're like, the lady's like, this guy looks good, but there are some things he's speaking, I don't believe him. He used to be sort of violent, but he's yet to,
brushing it off.
Yeah, he's yet to show it up.
Brushing it off, utaenda sasa ukole.
And then the other ladies are like, no, you just get married to him, you'll change that guy, you'll change him, you'll change when he gets married, perhaps it was blah blah. And the lady changes her mind because of wrong advice. It is very good to make sure before, and ask even your partners very tough questions about their life. Like, for example, in life, if your partner does 1, 2, 3, what will you do?
Okay.
Very good. What makes you so much angered? And when you are so angered, what can you do?
How do you react? Exactly.
Yep.
That's very important. Very important to know how your partner is when they get angry
before
you get married. But I love these questions that you're saying. You need to be able to ask tough questions in your relationship. And if I know some people will say, oh, if I ask them these questions, they'll say they'll start thinking I don't trust them, they're going to leave me. Then that's a good thing, because it shows you that that person is not committed to fighting out the bad together with you.
Sure.
And so you need to be asking tough questions, guys.
Very much.
Absolutely. So.
Very much.
Wow. I really want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for coming here, Mr. Wali.
Okay.
And we do appreciate you as you've helped us just think through that yes answer. Don't be so quick to say it if you've not been able to factor in account for everything else that comes with it. All right, with that said, we're going to take a break now as we get ready for our fitness segment. It is about 8:38 this morning, and we'll be back shortly or 9:38 rather, and we'll be back shortly as we get ready to take you to the top of the hour. 22999 is the SMS line.